I took a long road trip and tried 40 restaurants. So I'm going to let you know, good and bad, what's worth it and what's not. They warned me that there are bugs, and he said, no, they're pretty bad. His water had a bug in it. In today's video, we're back in the Florida Keys, talking about all the must-eat places and all the places you have to avoid. Let's go. This is a classic and unique dive bar that's actually historic in meme culture, saying Alabama Jacks can never be gentrified. The food's delicious. We had this amazing conch fritter loaf. It's a whole loaf, and you can definitely see the chunks of conch inside of it. You can definitely see the huge chunks of conch inside of the loaf. At Alabama Jacks, we also got some coconut shrimp on our way into the Florida Keys. If you're stopping in or out of the Florida Keys, you want to stop at Alabama Jacks on Card Sound Road. The menu is large and the portions are pretty good. This trip, we just had a little bite on our way into the Florida Keys, but I'm telling you, this is a must-do in the Florida Keys. Alabama Jacks, check it out. In the Florida Keys, it's always my number one goal to eat as much seafood as possible, which I'm pretty sure I accomplished on this trip. So on the last night, we were feeling something a little bit different and we're craving some pizza. The Isla Mirada Pizza Company, it was absolutely delicious. Look at these brilliant pizzas that we got. We got super lucky with our location next to this spot at the Chesapeake Beach Bay Resort. Check out more details in my last video about Isla Mirada. Upon exploration of the best Cuban food in Key West, I did find the number one croquetas that I'd have to say also beat my number one spot, La Playa in Miami. We got our croquetas, the first of our Cuban food in Key West.
Cheers.
It's so fresh. Like they're just putting this all by order.
Good croquetas.
Fire. So crispy. Sandy's is a win from a Miami local.
If you're stopping in Key West, check out Sandy's Cafe. It's absolutely delicious for some quick coffee or a quick bite to eat. You have to try these croquetas. Sandy's Cafe, Key West, Florida. Now we're getting down to the nitty and gritty, all the places to avoid in the Florida Keys. What used to be known as a spot tourists and locals would go alike with delicious food and beach swings right on the sand has now become catastrophic. There's two good things to know about this place. The ambiance was nice and the tuna nachos were good. This place is going to be mile marker 88. In the reviews and a personal story that I know, I heard things like the servers here can steal your credit card info and there's lots of scams that go on after you eat here. We ordered 3 pina coladas. I specifically asked for water for my brother because he doesn't drink. They brought us 4 pina coladas. I said, excuse me, I know certainly that I asked for 3 because my brother doesn't drink. I never order him a beverage. She said, extra pina colada or like extra drink, insinuating that she would like give it to me for her mistake. We'll talk about that later. So the tuna nachos were good. Those were a fair price, $17 for like a big plate. We ended up just eating 2 of those because everything else was incredibly expensive. I don't remember it being like that before because my mom would never take me to a place like that. So I'm pretty sure this place has upped their prices immensely and not keeping up with the quality or ambiance at all. Also, with the extra pina colada, my guest was able to drink 2 and were not tipsy at all. So they had 0 alcohol in them for the price of around $18. Keep that in mind. Remember how we talked about in the reviews how the servers are full of scam artists and how you can't trust them? This might be true because I don't think I can trust this server after the next thing she did. I asked her what the best key lime pie in the Florida Keys was or what she thought it was, and marker 88 used to be my favorite key lime pie. It was like a baked Alaska key lime pie. When they came to the table, all of us were extremely disappointed immediately as we saw them placed down. This key lime pie definitely ranked on the lowest totem pole of our key lime pie tour. It was a frozen no-bake key lime pie. I don't know when this thing was made and served to me. This thing could be 2 years old. It was horrible. Do not order this. Do not go here. Do not eat at Marker 88 unless you want your credit card number stolen and to pay an exorbitant amount for 3 things. So then the check comes and the extra pina colada is on our bill. 3 pina coladas, 2 orders of tuna nachos, and 2 key lime pies was $108 without tip. Imagine if we had gotten starters and entrees. Take this information for what you will, but I'm telling you now, avoid this place. Avoid Marker 88 in the Florida Keys. I researched this place and saw the name of this place pop up so many times. It was ranked super high on the list of places you have to try in the Florida Keys. But I'm going to have to knock it off its totem pole and say that this place is not worth your time. It's selling you overpriced, overhyped fish. The Key Largo Fisheries. It was small portions, and I don't think the flavor outweighed the price or made it worth it that this is a destination spot. The price isn't what bothers me, it's the quality and the way they executed the food. The taste was bland, and I wasn't impressed by this overpriced, low portioned seafood. If you don't believe me, go try this place, but I'm gonna tell you, your wallet will not be happy, and you will still be starving. I think the worst experience we had of the entire trip was right on our way out of the Florida Keys. I had done a lot of research and had a huge list of iconic places I wanted to try. I realized that we were only a 6 minute drive away from one of these iconic places, so we had to go there before heading out of the Florida Keys. They also had a happy hour that I heard was amazing, so I was really excited to check this out. We headed to Lazy Days restaurant in Isla Morada. When we arrived, it was very confusing. It's a gigantic place with about four places to sit, from inside to upstairs to outside. The host asked me where I wanted to sit, and I said I wanted to sit by the water. They warned me that there are bugs going on. And I was like, okay, it's fine. It's Florida. That's not that bad. And he said, no, they're pretty bad. And I was like, okay, I'm sure it's not that bad. I'm from Florida. I got this. So we went and sat by the water, and there were like these types of noceums or little like sand fleas almost. These sand fleas were hopping everywhere, all over the menu, all over the table. They warned us of this, so I wasn't going to get upset about it. I chose to sit here. I was going to see if we could handle it, and I decided after a few minutes we could not. We got served bread service at this table, and it was really delicious. It came with this banana bread, which I thought was really unique, and I was like, oh, this place is going to be really nice. We were waiting a while for our server, and I was kind of confused what was going on. I wanted to order. Then this random man spoke to us. I don't know if he was a manager, but he just shouted at us across the room, and he asked if we were getting happy hour. I said yes, and then he told me I couldn't be sitting at the table I was sat at. It's been several minutes already, but okay. So we moved tables. This is the third time we moved tables because of the bugs. We moved back further, and then we're not at the right spot, even though we were sat there by the host. So then we moved tables again to a high top. You weren't allowed to have a low top table with a back, you had to have stools at a high top. We had four dogs, so we brought them inside because this was the only place we could sit. Finally, a server comes up to us. This is maybe after like 10, maybe 15 minutes. She gives us a happy hour menu. So there's two separate places to sit, two separate menus. You're not allowed to order from different menus in different places. Like, you're not allowed to order from the big menu in the happy hour table either, which I didn't understand because I felt like that was limiting people's tips and the amount of money the restaurant could make. But okay. We ordered some beverages, and my brother got a water, and his water had a bug in it. So this is the second interaction with bugs twice in this one restaurant. The server said that this happens in the Florida Keys during this time. We've been in the Florida Keys already now for 3 days, and this has happened nowhere to us. We were on the water on the same side that this restaurant is on, 6 minutes down the way, and this was not happening anywhere where we were at. So this was the first time seeing an exorbitant amount of bugs, sand fleas hopping everywhere, and different types of bugs like flies and fleas getting into the water. So we asked, like, hey, could we get a cup of water without a bug in it? The water comes back, and it looks like it's the same cup. She's just tipped the bug out of the water. I actually saw in a review that certain restaurants in the Florida Keys will treat tourists different than they treat locals. So I don't know if that's what was happening here, but it definitely felt like an off vibe. So we're all now well hydrated with a little extra protein included. I was asking the server about like the limitations of not being able to order at the menu, and she said the chef gets overwhelmed if too many things are ordered. I don't know a chef that runs a restaurant that gets overwhelmed by putting 5 pieces of tuna on a plate. But if you ask me, I think maybe they should go back to culinary school. The server ended up actually switching with another bartender, and the guy who took care of us for the rest of the evening, he was actually really chill and cool. Yeah, the server was just so rude in the way she would come up to the table or the way she would take our order or the fact that she didn't even replace the cup of water with a fresh cup and then tried to not even do it at all, saying that's just how the keys are. Also, I'm sorry. I really cannot get past the bug aspect. I'm a Floridian and I totally understand this, but I think around food, that is just not acceptable. I went to so many other places and this was not happening. This was not a prominent issue. And it seemed like they weren't even trying to fix this. And I think a health inspector should check that out. I'm telling you, you have to avoid lazy days. Contrary to those many, many great reviews, this place had a really off putting vibe, and you might get sick if you go here. Also, this key lime pie was another frozen key lime pie. Please, if you're in the Florida Keys, ask them how they're making their key lime pie. You want a key lime pie that's made fresh daily, made by someone that knows what they're doing. This was gross. I didn't think this place was worth it at all, and I think you have to avoid lazy days. It's been a long journey and there's lots more places to see. We're almost done with the Florida Keys, so I can't wait for our next destination. Check out my next video and see where we're off to next.